Well, finally in the show today, new figures from the Home Office have revealed some interesting migration news. The number of migrants coming to live, work and study in the UK from non-EU countries has soared in the first year of our new post-Brexit points-based immigration system. According to the Home Office's figures, the number of work-related visas has increased by 25%. The introduction of the skilled worker route in January last year led to a third more skilled migrants entering the UK than the previous system. Well, I'm joined now by Jonathan Portes, the Professor of Economics and Public Policy at King's College London. Welcome to the programme. Isn't this exactly what the Brexiteers promised? A sort of a clampdown on unskilled immigration and potentially more skilled immigration from the rest of the world?
Well, it depends which Brexiteer you asked. Your colleague Nigel Farage told me when I pointed this out about a few weeks ago on his show, he told me this isn't what the British people voted for. So I think the answer is that, look, there was no unified Brexiteer position on this, but in practice, where we have indeed ended up is that the new system is substantially more liberal for people coming from outside the EU than the previous system, and that has indeed resulted in a rise in numbers. Although, of course, partly this does reflect a bounce back after the pandemic and the fact that we're seeing some very significant labour shortages in some sectors at the moment.
Is this the system just being more dynamic and responsive to those particular labour shortages? So, for example, in a year where there aren't so many labour shortages, when we're not experiencing that sort of situation, would we be seeing less immigration from EU and non-EU countries then?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So, of course, and we saw that in spades during the pandemic when immigration basically vanished. But, of course, yes, if we have a severe recession and unemployment soars, then immigration will fall. Immigration is a sort of natural safety valve, particularly in a relatively flexible labour market, to deal with both recessions and booms. And at the moment, well, we're not exactly in a boom, but we are in a situation where there are an awful lot of vacancies, a lot of demand for labour, and unsurprisingly, that is leading to a rise in immigration, and the new system is indeed facilitating that.
And potentially this is fostering a greater sense of public spiritedness amongst the British people towards immigration. Looking at social attitudes with regards to warmth towards immigration, that seems to have risen since the referendum. Paradoxically, I suppose, when you look at some commentary around this issue, the people of the United Kingdom are becoming more positive about immigration, potentially because it now is perceived to be controlled, and that there is this system of control that responds to the labour market as it fluctuates. Might that be what's behind the shift in attitudes there?
I think that is definitely part of the story. That since the referendum, people feel that this system does give the UK government and the UK Parliament more control. I think there are other factors as well. For example, I think there's since the referendum, with rise in labour shortages in some sectors as some EU workers left, and then during the pandemic, there's a greater appreciation of the contribution that migrants make through to our workforce, to our economy, and to society. And there is this long-standing trend, in fact, of the UK public in general, and this goes for both Remainers and Leavers. It's sort of across the political spectrum, becoming more positive about the economic and social and cultural contributions of migrants. And I think you see this also in areas that are not related directly to the new system as well. So the Hong Kong migration scheme, for example, which is a very generous offer indeed, has not provoked the sort of backlash that previously was observed when, for example, Ted Heath allowed Ugandan Asian refugees to come here. There was a severe popular backlash. That hasn't occurred this time.